Welcome to Wisdom of the World. Today I'm going to tell a story about simple happiness. It's a story from Sudan and it is called The Sultan and the Cobbler. And it goes like this. Once upon a time there was a sultan who liked to walk into the streets of his kingdom. He did that in the hope of finding out how loyal basically his subjects were. And so he did that for quite some time, always talking to everybody on the way, but he was always accompanied by his grand vizier, his assistant. And so the people all told him that everything was lovely. So one day he told his grand vizier, listen, tonight I'm going to go incognito. I'll go alone. So he went all alone. His advisor wasn't very happy, but he did it anyhow. And, he covered his head with a big cloak and he went. He went and he walked around and he listened. He started trying to see wherever he could. He avoided sort of places like bars, because he was afraid to be recognized. But he only heard tales or sounds of sorrow, of somebody who wasn't being paid, or somebody who wanted to divorce, or just unhappy thing. And he thought, oh my God, is this the people that I am the king of? Terrible. And then he went on and he walked to an even poorer part of the city. And again, all that he heard there was doom and gloom, until all of a sudden he heard happy, joyful singing. And he thought, oh, there's finally somebody who is happy living in my kingdom. So he went in and he put over his head and he said to the man inside, please, sir, can I just, take a little break from my walks around? And the guy immediately received him very, very gracefully and said, yes, sir, please sit down here and here's some bread and here's some water. Please stretch yourself. So the Sultan stretched his ached limbs and looked around and he said, this is a cobbler, a shoemaker, and a poor one too. So he asked the cobbler, he said, dear man, what is the secret of your happiness? And the cobbler said, well, I make 4 piastras a day. The king thought, Jesus, that's not very much. 1 piastra I eat. Another piastra I pay back. And the 3rd piastra I land onwards. And the 4th piastra I throw in the river. And the king, the Sultan, thought, and he says, dear man, you talk in riddles. Can you please explain? Sure, he says, I can explain it to you. So he said, the 1st piastra is the one that I buy food for. The 2nd piastra is the one that I pay back to my father, who has always taken care of me since I was young. And the 3rd piastra I lend to my son, who eventually later on also will take care of me. And the 4th piastra I give to my daughter, where I am not expecting anything in return, because eventually she will marry somebody and go with that family. And the king, then he heard that, he says, wow, that is such a nice riddle. I can tell all my wise people. So he said, listen, here is, and he threw a big bag of money. Here is 1,000 reals for you, on the condition that you do not speak to anybody about what you just told me until after you have seen my face at least 1,000 times. The cobbler said, okay. So the king left, came home happy, and he called all his counselors and the wise men together, and he says, hey, I got a riddle for you. There's a guy who he eats 1 piastra he repays one, he lends one, and he throws one in the water. What is the story here? What is really happening? And they were thinking and thinking. They said, "Oh, Majesty, can we have some more time?" So he says, "Okay, you have 3 days." And after 3 days, they still absolutely did not know. And the Grand Vizier, who was part of that group too, was getting very worried, and he said, His Majesty came with this idea after he went for a walk. So the answer is not in the palace, the answer is in the town. So we also went into the town in the evening. Also, I had no idea where to get an answer to his riddle. And he walked, and then finally also, all of a sudden, he heard this happy singing, this happy talk, and he said, oh, let me go and ask here. So he went in, and again, he was also very well received by the cobbler, and he said, listen, I have a problem, and I'm going to be put in jail if I don't know the answer by tomorrow morning. The guy says, well, what is it? Told him the story, and the guy said, thought for a long time, and says, well, I can give you the answer on the condition that you tell the Sultan, you don't tell him you heard it from me. Okay, so the Grand Vizier very happily went home because he had the answer he was looking for. And the next morning, when the king called everybody together, he gave the correct answer. And the king goes, how is this possible? The cobbler must have blabbed, must have talked. Bring him here to me at once. So, after a while, they brought the cobbler to him, to the king, and the cobbler stood there very calmly, very self-assured. And the king said, you have lied to me. How come you have talked? And the cobbler said, Your Majesty, I have done exactly as you asked. As a matter of fact, I have seen your face 2,000 times. One time, each time, I look at the money you gave me and the Vizier, the Grand Vizier gave me. On each coin, there is your face. So I have seen your face more than 2,000 times. Now the king was, may I say again, so delighted with his answer that, of course, he let the guy go and he gave him even another bag full of money. Now, what's the message here? This question on what makes one happy, I think lots of books have been written about it, lots of thought has been going into it. I don't think I can add to that, but I do want to mention 3 components, which I think are bound to make everybody, including this cobbler, more happy. First of all, think of others, not of yourself. Secondly, be content, be happy with whatever you have. And thirdly, keep your life simple. I think if you adhere to these 3 things, maybe there is a chance you'll be really happy. Thank you.